This was always one of my favorite events. Ah, there you are, Teresa. When I was Deputy Chancellor. In case you have any doubts at all how committed I am to parents, particularly to parents of English language learners, you should know that, for those of you who don't know, I think the whole city knows by now, that my first language is not English. And I was one of those children who grew up in a home where Spanish was spoken all the time. So when I went to school, I had to learn to speak English. But even more important than speaking English was that in my home, it was always very important to remember our culture. So my parents didn't only speak Spanish, they reminded me the country they came from. In my case, it wasn't only Spain, but very specifically, Galicia. And I still have that accent when I speak in Spanish. It's a Gallego accent. And they wanted to make sure that when I went to school, that I would share my traditions and that I always would be proud of where I came from. And that's really, I think, the message that I want you to be sure that you carry through to your children. If you speak your language at home, that's important. But more importantly, to keep the traditions of your own culture. We are much richer as a country when we remember we are, Hispanic Americans, Mexican Americans, Arab Americans, it's Muslim. It's important to keep both. And it's important for our kids not to be embarrassed. I grew up at a time when I was actually told, you don't speak Spanish in the streets. You speak it at your home, but don't let anybody know that you have that culture. And I think, hopefully, in New York, what I'm seeing happening now, and this is the right conference to have this discussion, parents are actually requesting dual language programs. Parents are saying, can our kids learn two languages? Can they keep their language and learn another language? We're almost doubling those programs over the last 2 years, and that's because finally I think America has kind of woken up and realized that two languages is not only important to maintain your heritage, but it's going to help you get a better job. I just can't imagine that that wouldn't be part of it. Also, as much as I believed in this when I was a child and when I was the mother of two daughters, I believe this totally as an abuela. I keep telling the story. When my kids would come home and they would complain, they would do something, I would say things like, well, the teacher kind of knows what she's doing, even if I kind of thought she didn't, because I wanted my daughters to get used to it. However, with my grandchildren, if they come home with any complaints, I'm like a tiger. The teacher said what? And you did what? And as an abuela, I really see how important it is that we continue our traditions. I take my grandchildren this year, because I don't have so much vacation, I'm taking only 2 weeks, and I'm taking 3 grandchildren, a 2-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old with me to Spain for 2 weeks. And it's important. It's important that they go. And my husband's not so sure this was a great idea. But I know it's a great idea because my family is there, and it's important for them to know they're part of a bigger place, and they're part of a very important family tradition. And also it's important, and I think it's important for all of you who come from two traditions, for our kids to know that other traditions are different than what's happening in New York City. So what do we do that's different? Well, first of all, we have very big lunches. We take siestas. We get up late in the morning, and at night, which is what my grandchildren love the best, we do paseos, because at night there you go out as a family. The grandparents, the parents, your entire family goes out. And my kids, when they come back to this country, know that there's not a good way to do things and a bad way, but a different way. And one of the things I've taught the boys, because they're all boys, is that it's really good to be able to compare and contrast what happens in one country and another. That doesn't make one better or one worse. And that's part of the Common Core, believe it or not, comparing and contrasting. And the boys will always say, oh, well, we love going to Spain because we love the food, we love the family, we love the celebrations, but most of all, we love going to bed late at night and being able to walk in the streets with family. And I think it's really important that all of you keep that up. I want to say thank you to, where's Claudia? Claudia Geary for her leadership in this effort, and also to Corinne Rillo and Selmy, because I think these two women have done an unbelievable job of making sure that your needs and your requests are really front and center. The one thing that parents have asked me throughout the city, Claudia just gave you a shout out, is that many parents have been asking for ESL training, and I'm happy to tell you that it is really one of the things we're going to. I didn't even know I had a superintendent in charge of free ESL classes. I found that out 2 weeks ago. So keep watching, because we're going to be announcing the different sites where that's going to take place. And one of the other requests that families are asking for is more training in technology. And we're looking to see if there's a way that we can encompass that. The other thing is a lot more parent workshops. Tomorrow, for those of you who are interested, we're holding a whole morning for middle school parents. And that's going to be actually at Tweed. And I think it's a great way to inaugurate Tweed under this leadership by saying parents are welcomed. And we really encourage you to come. And starting next year, we expect to have a lot more all-day parent workshops based on what you need. But I really just wanted to say that you are always in my thoughts. Like I said, my mother never really learned to speak English well. My father did. He had a good job. But the most important thing my parents gave me is a feeling of pride in my heritage. And I think that's really the job that you have ahead of you. Learn new things, but the past is also worth celebrating. So thank you, and thank you for attending today.